Valkyrie team, listen up. This is a crucial mission. Corporal Jake Reaper Taylor stood at the front of the dimly lit briefing room aboard the ESS Independence. His rugged features and muscular frame marked him as a seasoned veteran of the United Earth Systems Special Forces. The 5 men and women seated before him represented the best of the best, Valkyrie Squad. Our target is Dr. Ava Hansen, leading xenobiologist and the only scientist to have lived among the Mantras hives for an extended period. She's currently trapped on Zantos 9 at a remote research outpost. We lose her. We lose our best shot at understanding these bugs. Reaper clicked to the next slide. A planet wreathed in storms. Zantos 9 is a Venus-like world. Sulfuric acid rains, crushing atmospheric pressure, temps over 400 degrees Celsius, but the Mantras thrive in these conditions. He zoomed into a sprawling hive complex. This facility houses Dr. Hansen's lab. It's built into one of the planet's megavolcanoes, tapping geothermal energy, but seismic activity has been escalating, putting the whole complex at risk of destruction. Reaper crossed his arms. Our window is closing fast. We know the Mantras took the dock there against her will. They are fascinated by human biology and want to study her. So this is a rescue op, plain and simple. We get her and get out. The squad nodded silently, faces illuminated by flashing holograms. Reaper could see the apprehension in their eyes. The Mantras were no joke. I won't lie to you. This will be the toughest mission of your lives. The facility will be crawling with Mantras forces, and their cyborg allies, the Torans, have also been spotted planetside. Here's what we know about the bugs. Reaper outlined the nightmarish physiology of the 12-foot-tall Mantras drones and warriors in gruesome detail, noting their saliva contains a paralytic neurotoxin. He then described the Torans, once an organic race before being forcibly converted by the Mantras into biomechanical shock troopers. Final word of warning, watch out for their particle cannons. Focus fire to collapse their shields. Aim for gaps in armor near cybernetic joints. Despite the daunting obstacles ahead, Reaper finished with an inspiring send-off. Stay sharp, trust your training, and we'll bring our girl home. This is our chance to show the galaxy what humanity is made of. We will not fail. The squad roared back, motivated to succeed against any odds. Valkyrie headed to the hangar, boarding their sleek Hornet-class gunship. Strapped into the dual cockpit, Reaper gave a nod to his co-pilot and longtime wingman Hawkins. The vessel dropped from the Independence's bay into open space before rocketing towards Zantos 9. It was time to descend into hell. Valkyrie was ready. Valkyrie's dropship pierced the upper cloud layers of Zantos 9, buffeted by hurricane-force winds. Acid rain scoured the armored hull as the vessel descended towards Dr. Hansen's mountainside research complex. Entering the horizontal vents, Hawkins called out. They flew into a massive fissure, using the geothermal exhaust shafts to avoid the planet's deadly surface conditions. Alarms blared as the ship shook under weapons fire. Swarms of Mantras fighters clung to the vent walls, scrabbling to intercept the humans. Hawkins juked the ship through the tight tunnels, pulverizing Mantras with each turn. Reaper primed the ship's plasma cannons. Light 'em up! Brilliant energy bolts blasted holes through the organic vessels. They smashed their way through the last lines of defense, exiting the smoldering vents into open caverns near the facility. The Hornet hovered over a landing zone strewn with Mantras corpses, courtesy of an orbital missile barrage. Valkyrie fast roped down, securing a perimeter. The sound of screeching Mantras echoed from all directions. "Stack up and clear those tunnels," Reaper ordered. "Push forward to the lab levels." With tactical precision, The elite soldiers fought their way downward through a nightmare of organic passages. The razor-sharp claws and teeth of the Mantris were no match for Valkyrie's powered armor and advanced weaponry. Reaching a massive central chamber, the squad stacked next to a sealed door. Thermal scans show numerous hostiles massing on the other side, reported Valkyrie's tech expert Banks. Reaper nodded. Breach and clear. The door exploded inward and Valkyrie surged through, firing non-stop into the crowd of Mantris warriors. The bugs scrambled for cover, hissing and shrieking in rage as the phalanx of bullets cut them down. Within seconds, the floor was carpeted with Mantris corpses. Valkyrie advanced toward Dr. Hansen's lab through corridors slippery with alien blood. Reaper felt the hairs on his neck rise. Wait, something's not right. A blast door ahead of them raised open, smoke billowed out. Instead of more Mantris, heavily armored humanoid shapes emerged. "Talorians!" Reaper shouted. The cyborgs raised their arms in unison, unleashing a storm of plasma towards Valkyrie. "Take cover!" Reaper dove behind a metal outcropping just as a bolt sizzled past his head. The squad returned fire, but the energy splashed harmlessly across the Talorian shields. Pinned down by unrelenting fire, Reaper racked his brain for options. "Banks, can you hack into their network? Disrupt those shields?" "On it." Banks jacked his mindcomm directly into a nearby alien console while the rest of Valkyrie drew the Talorians' attention. After several tense moments, the cyborgs paused and clutched their heads as their shields flickered out. "Shields are down. Hit them hard." Valkyrie focused their firepower, concentrating on the Talorians' exposed armatures. The cyborgs spasmed under the bullets tearing through their armor. Within minutes, the floor was littered with their burning wreckage. "Damn bugs just don't know when to quit," Reaper said, kicking a lifeless Talorian head away. He turned to his weary squad. "Come on, the Doc's lab is just ahead. Let's get her and end this hellish bug hunt." "Valkyrie, this is Dr. Hansen. I'm barricaded in my lab. The whole hive is coming down." Hansen's panicked voice crackled through Valkyrie's comms. The facility quaked constantly as Zantos 9's tectonic upheaval increased. Acrid smoke filled the passageways. "We're on our way, Doc," Reaper replied. "Just hold tight. We'll get you out." Guided by Hansen's directions, Valkyrie ascended crumbling stairwells towards the lab, fighting through pockets of mantras drawn by the spreading chaos. Load-bearing columns groaned under the planet's tremors. At last they reached the top-floor research labs. Bulkhead doors lay twisted off their track from a Talorian blast attack. Valkyrie rushed inside, finding it abandoned except for Hansen and a hulking alien, the facility's head of security, Orgol. "Orgol, stand down!" Hansen yelled, placing herself between the alien and Valkyrie's raised rifles. "They're here to help." The alien obeyed, lowering his plasma cannon. Hansen turned to Reaper, her eyes wide with panic. "Thank God you're here, but I can't abandon my life's work. These seismic readings could redefine Mantris hive engineering." Reaper stepped forward urgently. "With respect, Doctor, this whole volcano is going to blow any minute. We need to leave now." Hansen hesitated, looking longingly at her still-running instruments. Then she saw the resolve in Valkyrie's dirt and blood-stained faces. She nodded reluctantly. "You're right, Corporal. Let's move." Valkyrie swiftly escorted Hansen and Orgol towards the surface, but their path was blocked as the largest quake yet sheared open the corridor ahead. Torrents of lava surged up from the widening crevasse. "Damn it! Main route's blocked." Reaper surveyed the area. "Hawkins, see that automated transit chute? Can you hack the controls?" "Affirmative." Hawkins got to work overriding the alien systems while Valkyrie returned fire against approaching Mantris battalions. More quakes threatened to swallow them whole. "I'm in! Transit chute is primed!" Hawkins yelled. Outstanding! Fire team, inside the tubes now! Reaper grabbed Hansen and dove into the opening. They slid at breakneck speed through churning lava. Orgel landed behind them just as the corridor collapsed. Bursting into open air on the surface landing pad, the team raced for their waiting dropship, but a hidden squad of Tellurians ambushed them from the smoking wreckage. Orgel leapt forward to shield Reaper and Hansen, riddled with plasma fire. "No!" Reaper cried, shredding the cyborgs with his rotary cannon. Orgel slumped with a final defiant roar. Mantras dropships swarmed the escaping humans. "Punch it!" Reaper ordered his pilot. Their engine screamed and lifted them away from the disintegrating mountainside just as it was consumed by volcanic fires. Looking down solemnly at Orgel's body, Reaper turned to Hansen. "No matter what, I'll get you home." She met his gaze with wordless gratitude. Against all odds, Valkyrie had narrowly plucked Dr. Ava Hansen from the very jaws of death. But countless new threats loomed on the horizon. Humanity still desperately needed her knowledge. Aboard Valkyrie's dropship, Dr. Hansen stared silently out the window as Zantos 9 shrank into the distance, its entire northern continent consumed by a spreading lava sea. Turning abruptly, Hansen jabbed an accusing finger at Reaper. "You had no right to force me from my research. I was on the cusp of a major discovery about Mantras geoengineering." Reaper stood stoically as she continued her furious tirade. "Your brute force tactics have deprived humanity of vital knowledge. Who knows when we'll have another chance to study a Mantras hive?" The squad shifted awkwardly at Hansen's strident ethical condemnation, but Reaper stayed calm and met her glare. "Doctor, I took an oath to protect human lives with my own if necessary. Your research is invaluable, but we couldn't stand by and watch you die." Hansen's fists trembled at her sides. "My life is meaningless next to the good this knowledge could bring. Our understandings of the Mantras and Tellurians remain dangerously lacking." She turned away, conflicted emotions playing across her face. Reaper stepped forward. "With respect, we sometimes have to make difficult judgment calls in battle. As soldiers, the mission comes first. But also, we're human. Having you alive and still fighting is what really matters." Hansen slowly turned back, the anger fading from her eyes. She saw the heavy burden of leadership Reaper carried, and how Valkyrie would unhesitatingly lay down their lives for this cause. You may be right, Corporal," she admitted quietly. "My devotion to science blinded me. We must stand together, using knowledge to build, not destroy." Reaper nodded, a wash of relief relaxing his clenched jaw. They shook hands in somber understanding. "I will continue my research and find a way for humanity to coexist with the Mantras," Hansen promised. "You have my word." Reaper smiled. "And Valkyrie will be there fighting alongside you, no matter where this mission takes us next." As the dropship entered the launching bay of the ESS Independence, Reaper knew the road ahead would be long. But with Dr. Ava Hansen back safely, he had hope. Hope that humanity and aliens could find common ground. Corporal Jake Reaper Taylor stood at attention in the communications room aboard the Independence, steeling himself before the holographic figure of Commander Kovacs. It was time to report on Operation Valkyrie. "Mission successful, Commander. Dr. Hansen has been recovered safely." Kovacs nodded, his craggy features flickering. "Excellent work, Corporal. What's the status of Zantos 9? Reaper hesitated. Should he disclose the unethical details of their forced extraction? Kovacs sensed his unease. "Speak freely, son. This was an unprecedented scenario." Reaper described the eruption consuming the planet and how he had to physically retrieve an unwilling Dr. Hansen. Her research could have held the key to understanding the Mantras hives, but I prioritized her life. Did I make the right call, sir? Kovacs rubbed his chin thoughtfully under his graying beard. There were no easy choices given the situation. In my view, you showed compassion and quick thinking under extreme pressure. Those are the traits of a true leader. Reaper stood taller at the old commander's praise. However, Kovacs continued, Dr. Hansen's knowledge remains vital to protecting Earth. We still require her cooperation. I understand, sir, Reaper replied. The doctor has agreed to continue aiding us willingly after coming to an understanding. Kovacs raised a bushy eyebrow. Oh? Do tell me more. Reaper described the heated ethical debate with Dr. Hansen and how it evolved into a promise to work together for humanity's greater good. Kovacs smiled. Well done, Corporal. Your integrity and empathy prevailed. I should expect no less from one of our finest. As Reaper left the comms room, he felt the burdens of Valkyrie's last, harrowing mission lift from his shoulders. There were still deadly threats looming, but with leaders like Kovacs and minds like Hansen's on their side, humanity had a fighting chance. Staring out an observation window at the stars streaking past, Reaper thought of Orgul's sacrifice and the troops still deployed across the cosmos. He whispered a silent prayer for their safety. But someday soon, humans would bridge the void between species. Valkyrie would lead the charge, facing down any danger without hesitation. After all, surrender was not in their nature.